Smear.
Records reflect that Mr. Smear is present in court with David Kelly. His attorney, Emily Donlin, is here from the prosecutor's office, and Scott Green is here from the Department of Corrections. This is the date and time the court has scheduled for sentencing in this matter. Mr. Green provided the court with a pre-sentence report and recommended sentence that I have reviewed. Have you seen that, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you had a chance to work with your client?
Yes, I have.
Seen as well, Ms. Donlin?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have one comment on corrections and deletions that I'm going to ask my usual question of the attorneys before I get into that, and you may have already noticed. But to either parties have any challenges to relevancy, accuracy, or sentencing guidelines?
Your Honor, I expect we're on the same page here. Our only note on behalf of the people, we did confer with defense as well, as to the charge under is count one. It does show the original charging language for count one, homicide, open murder, statutory short form. I believe at the time of plea, the court did accept a plea for homicide, first degree premeditated murder. So we would just ask that the PSI be amended to reflect that as the final charge. But
I think that that's important simply because of the nature of an open murder charge. It's usually first degree or second degree, but in theory, depending upon what a jury would decide or the court decide, if the court was sitting as a trier of fact, it could be a lot of other things. So I think it's important that that be noted, and that's kind of why at the time of the plea hearing, I made a special record as to what I believe the facts as provided by Mr. Smear were showing. So I think that that is a correction that should also be made. Mr. Kelly?
We have no objection.
The other thing that I noticed, I don't believe that Mr. Smear is entitled to 291 days credit on the principal convictions offenses because they are all subject to a felony firearm mandatory minimum 2-year sentence, which is to be served consecutive to the predicate felony. So he gets credit on each of the felony firearm charges of 291 days. And we'll get to the details of that when we get to sentencing. But and those 5 felony firearm charges will run concurrently with each other, but they will be consecutive to the predicate felony to which they're attached. So he gets credit on the felony firearms, but not on the other. And to the extent that the report reflects that he does, that is inaccurate.
Your Honor is correct.
Your Honor, for clarity, the ROA indicates that it was homicide, open murder, statutory short form. The information that we received from the court reflected the same thing, because I brought that up myself. And I was directed to put it in there the way that it is. So I want to make sure that we have the correct thing.
Well, I don't know exactly what Ms. Allen suggested, but the court found, based upon the testimony of Mr. Smear at his guilty plea hearing, that the facts as he articulated them to the court established without any doubt that his conduct was premeditated and that it was his intention to kill all 3 of the children that were shot. He was successful in one of those situations and not successful in the other 2. So the homicide is a premeditated first-degree homicide. The others are what they are because they are attempts or other forms of assaultive behavior with a firearm. So, Ms. Donlin, could you state again what you directed the Probation Department, Department of Corrections to say as far as the charge in count 1?
yes, Your Honor, it's the people's position that it should read as count 1, homicide, murder, first degree, premeditated. And that would be PAC code 750.316-A for the reasons stated in the record.
All right. Any other challenges to relevancy, accuracy, or sentencing guidelines scoring?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Spear, this is your opportunity to address the court regarding sentencing, if you would like to do so. If there's anything that you would like to say to me, this is your chance.
I'll say, Your Honor.
No, you don't want to say anything else, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, this is without question the most difficult sentencing hearing I have participated in. Nothing that can be said today diminishes the horror of what occurred on September 11, 2025. One child lost his life. 2 children suffered catastrophic injuries, one of whom may live the remainder of her life confined to a wheelchair. The family has been forever shattered. There simply are no words that can adequately express the magnitude of that loss. Mr. Smear understands that. More importantly, he has accepted responsibility for it. Unlike many defendants facing the certainty of spending the remainder of their lives in prison, Mr. Smear did not force Brandy, Bentley, Kinsley, Aiden, law enforcement officers, medical personnel, or this community through a lengthy trial. He entered a plea of guilty as charged to every count. He has never attempted to blame anyone else for what occurred. In the written statement contained in the pre-sentence investigation report, he plainly acknowledged that he shot 3 of his children, killed Caleb, permanently injured Kinsley, and caused immeasurable harm to all of them. That plea cannot undo the damage. It cannot restore Caleb's life or erase the trauma suffered by Bentley and Kinsley. But it is a meaningful act of accountability. One of the most troubling aspects of this case is that this tragedy was not born of a lifetime of violent criminal behavior. Mr. Smear came before this court with virtually no felony record, 2 misdemeanor convictions. He'd maintained steady employment for nearly 20 years, supported his family, and had been the primary financial provider through his marriage. The pre-sentence investigation report itself recognizes that prior to these offenses, his criminal history was almost non-existent. That history does not excuse what happened. It does, however, demonstrate that this offense occurred during an extraordinarily deterioration of Mr. Smear's mental health and personal circumstances. Shortly before this tragedy, Mr. Smear had the opportunity to receive treatment through the St. Clair County Mental Health Court. Tragically, that opportunity never materialized. On August 26, 2025, 2.5 weeks before this tragedy took place, Mr. Smear was denied participation in the Mental Health Court, a treatment court for misdemeanor offenses, of which his was, for the following reasons. The defendant is not diagnosed with a serious mental illness, serious emotional disturbance, or a developmental disability, does not meet mental health severity criteria. Now, I'm not here to point the finger at anyone. The seriousness of Mr. Smear's mental health issues were not spotted at that time. On the morning of September 11th, 2025, Mr. Smear awoke with a sentencing hearing scheduled for later that morning. He was facing a recommendation of 365 days in jail for a misdemeanor offense that took place years earlier. He had already lost the job he had held for nearly 2 decades. He had lost the family housing that had accompanied that employment. His depression and anxiety worsened. According to the victim impact information contained in the PSI, he had stopped taking his prescribed medication approximately 5 days before this incident. None of those circumstances justify his actions, but they help explain how an individual with virtually no history of serious violence arrived at this unimaginable point. Obviously, with Mr. Smear's apparent mental health issues, I referred him for an evaluation relative to criminal responsibility at the Michigan Forensic Center. Both Dr. Mishira Oliver from the Forensic Center and Dr. Michael Abramsky concluded that Mr. Smear did not satisfy Michigan's legal standard for an insanity defense. The legal standard for insanity, however, is extraordinarily narrow. A finding that someone was legally sane at the time of their crime does not mean that the person was mentally healthy. Those are very different questions. Indeed, the record demonstrates that Mr. Smear had long-standing diagnosis of depression and anxiety requiring medication, and even the victim impact statement from Mrs. Smear reflects her belief that what he experienced is what she described as a psychotic break, that he snapped under the overwhelming pressures he was experiencing. She further expressed her belief that life imprisonment may not be the appropriate punishment because, in her words, he was not in his right mind. Again, that is not a legal excuse. The law requires life imprisonment, and Mr. Smear knew that when he pleaded guilty. Mr. Smear will carry the consequences of the morning of September 11, 2025 for the remainder of his life, regardless of the sentence imposed. Every day, he will know he caused the death of his son. Every day, he will know that Bentley and Aiden and Brandy must live with the consequences of what occurred. Every day, he will know that Kinsley may never walk again because of his actions. I say may because I believe in the power of medical advancements. There's always hope. There is no prison sentence that can exceed that emotional burden. The mandatory sentence on count 1 leaves this court with little discretion concerning the homicide conviction. We recognize that reality. Your Honor, I think the only issue that I would like to at least briefly bring to the court's attention here is that there is a recommendation of continuing a no contact order with Mrs. Smear and the children in this case. It's my understanding, and has been brought to my attention by both Mrs. Smear and the prosecutor, that I believe the victims may be addressing that later in the sentencing hearing. I'm asking the court to keep an open mind on that issue regarding no contact based on the victim input. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Ms. Down.
Your Honor, a number of the named victims of this offense are present, and do you wish to submit to the court a victim impact statement if so allowed?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, approaching the podium at this time are Aiden Smear and minor victim B.S. Bentley Smear here. I know the name's been stated on the record, so we'll go without initials at this time.
Who's going to be first?
Me, Judge.
State your name, please.
Aiden Smear.
Go ahead.
I honestly didn't really know how to start this, but I just kind of want to start off by saying that my brother killed was one of the most amazing people in this world, and his life was taken in it like that. He just woke up every other morning, got ready for school, watched his TikTok, doing whatever. He was on the couch with his backpack on, waiting for him to take him to school. And he was able to go up to him, point a gun at him, and pull the trigger. And that was his favorite son. That's what don't make sense to me, bro. That was his favorite son. That was his whole world right there. And he was able just to do it. And then he was able to go into the next room and do it to his second favorite, his only daughter. Just like that. Just like that, he was able to do it. It would never make sense to me. And then he was able to do it again to my other brother. And thankfully, he was able to run and get help. His cops would have not got there as quick if it wasn't for my brother right here. And I'm so glad that I still am able to have 2 of my siblings. I could have lost 3 siblings that day. I lost an entire family that day, but I'm so glad I'm still able to talk to 2 of my siblings. And I personally, you deserve life plus 1. I wish you could live 2 lives in there. I will never understand. You could explain it to me 1,000,000 times, I'll never understand once. Mental health stuff, men's mental health is not talked about enough. I suffer from it. I have depression and anxiety. I got help. I took time away from my personal life and got help. I listened to people. I got the help I needed. Look where I am today. I'm doing a lot better than I was at that time. I'm not saying that everyone is the same way, but that's not the way to go about it. There'll never be an okay excuse for mental health, no matter what. Everyone in this room has experienced mental health. No one has done the things that you have done in this room. Ever. So.
Say your name, please.
Bentley Smell. That morning, my brother was killed. The first thing he said to me was a good one. I didn't know a good one it thought of it shooting me in the face. You just look everything coming to you. You can cry all you want, it won't change a shit thing. You crippled my sister, you killed my brother. Your own children. That you loved your entire life just to kill. Just think about that. And you deserve everything coming to you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Kingsley Smear is also present in the courtroom, and we do have a microphone attached to her at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, thank you.
My name is Kingsley Smear. I would like to say that he was a good dad, and I woke up that morning not knowing what was going to happen. I woke up thinking that it was going to be a regular day, and we were going to go to school. But it turned out to be a horrific day, and he was a good dad. He did all he could for the family, and then he got accused of something, and then lost everything. He went to community health center, he asked for help,